A number of geographical name changes are on the cards. This after Arts and Culture Minister Gayton McKenzie approved 21 name changes and registrations from the Eastern Cape as well as KwaZulu-Natal. Now, the approval follows recommendations from the South African Geographical Names Council. The department says it is in the process of gazetting the approved names. Two of the names to be changed are the East London to KuGompo as well as Graaff Reinet to Robert Sobukwe. Let's now bring in academic as well as cultural expert Professor Sihawukele Ngubane from the College of Humanities at the University of KwaZulu-Natal. Prof. Ngubane, it's a pleasure. Welcome. So your response to these proposals. Let's start by, of course, that one, the one that is currently in the news by Isilo Samabandla to remove the Natal from KwaZulu. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Natalie, and your viewers. Thank you for inviting me. In response of the act of renaming, I think it's a part of redress. It's a restorative justice. In fact, the renaming of provinces is about restoring historical dignity and also correcting colonial and apartheid legacies and affirming indigenous identity. So the motion by His Majesty is part of that call that let us reclaim our languages, let us reclaim our dignity as Amazulu.
But what do you make of the contestation of specifically the change in KwaZulu-Natal as opposed to Graaff Reinet as well as the Eastern Cape there, Professor?
Yeah, I think that these are two different processes because the SANGC, the South African Geographical Names Council, jurisdiction does not include juristic names like countries and provinces. So the process of changing juristic names is a responsibility of the National Assembly, and it includes public consultation, and it's a long process. But in the case of SANGC, it is part of redressing the past histories and bringing the dignity of the people who occupied the land before, because you find that there are names that are designated by the white administration as opposed to the names that are used by the inhabitants of that area. So we remember we had the Kabeja name that was changed from the Port Elizabeth.
Yes.
It had sparked a lot of debate, but people forget that this is a redress exercise. It's not that we are revenging the past. It's a symbolic redress and not a revenge, and it's part of the nation building. I think we welcome what the minister has proclaimed, the changes of Graaff Reinet to Robert Sobukwe, which acknowledges the contribution of Robert Sobukwe in the liberation movement of our country. So it's bringing a fresh air for the people of Graaff Reinet.
While we're talking about redress, I'm glad you brought that point up, Professor, because these views and this discussion, Prof, if we look broadly, we know that some colonial names of towns and streets have been renamed in the recent years as a means to restoring historical dignity, as you alluded to earlier, to those who were dispossessed, oppressed and forced to abandon their origins. We saw this debate also raging around colonial statues and monuments, of course, and we saw discussions particularly around the old South African flag, as well as towns like Oranje as well. So what do you draw in terms of distinction to these type of debates, specifically when it comes to those who are opposed to these name changes?
Yeah, there will always be people who will resist the name change because they want to belong to the past. And yet in the democratic environment, we need to redress and change and restore the dignity of the people of South Africa by reclaiming the names, the indigenous names of those areas. So I think it's part of a transformative exercise that is exercised by the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture in the country.
And they're always, of course, campaigning around social cohesion there, Professor. But I'm pretty sure you've also heard the various reactions, especially from political parties who also voiced either support for or against the name changes, saying that it seeks to erase or edit a crucial part of our historical makeup. But in actual essence, when it comes to KZN, the kingdom did start with only KwaZulu.
Yes, but there was Port Natal and KwaZulu. The area from Uthukela and beyond was named KwaZulu, and it was called Zululand in English. And from Uthukela to Harding, that place was annexed by the British council, the British government, as part of Natal. So, as we may recall, that the name Natal was named by a Portuguese explorer, Vasco da Gama, who came to the area on the 25th of December, 1497. And he found this place and called this place Natal as the land of birth of Christ, because it was 25 December. So this is a kind of history that we need to keep, but since it was part of the white administration, we need to change and restore that.
Thank you so much for that sound analysis there. We're going to leave it there with Professor Sihawukele Ngubane. He was weighing in on the proposals to change KwaZulu-Natal to just KwaZulu, as well as other proposed names like Graaff Reinet, as well as, of course, Eastern Cape and KwaZulu-Natal.